Hello everyone, it's me, Vegan Star, and we're here for the final part of my low poly PS1 style warrior cat tutorial. Now in this part, we will be animating and rendering our character. So, first things first, let's switch it to render preview, and then let's pull this up a little bit and click on this and go to timeline. Set end to 24 and hit enter. Then just use the middle scroll wheel to just zoom in until you can see the timeline pretty clearly like this, and just kind of middle mouse click and drag down to make sure that you're at the top of it. And then click on the skeleton, and well, first one thing we should do is we should hit save as and name this Forest Wind Anim for animation, because it can be pretty helpful to save any animations you do out as a separate file from your main character rig, so that if anything goes wrong with the animation process, like you still have the rig untouched and ready to use. Okay, so grab the rig and go into pose mode. Now we're going to do in a walking animation, so grab this, and remember, for moving the feet, make sure to grab the IK bones and not the foot. So grab this one, and then on the opposite side, on the back half, click another one, and then just drag those two forward. Just drag them forward a little bit, and then grab the opposite ones and drag them backwards. Then select everything, right click, and hit insert keyframe, location, and rotation. Then go to 25, and once again insert keyframe, location, and rotation. Now it's important to save the first frame at 25 rather than 24, because if you have the same frame on both 1 and 24, that same frame will play for 2 frames, so it'll look a bit more like a stutter in the animation. If you want it to play more smoothly, you should have the looping frame be past the render point, so that it simply shows the frame before that and then goes back to the first frame. Okay, now we'll go to 12. Just click right here where 12 is, and then we'll grab these back feet, push them forward, then grab the feet going forward and pull them back. Now, once again, select everything, right click, insert keyframe, location, and rotation. Now go back to the first frame, and we will add a little bit of rotation to the spine. Now, one thing that I like to do is I like to input the feet first and make sure to save and make sure to insert keyframe for the whole skeleton, because otherwise it can get a bit messy. So go ahead and click on the pelvis bone, grab the rotation tool, and then this foot is going forward, so what you want to do is you want to have the pelvis rotate in that direction. Then take the belly, have it rotate that so it's facing forward, and then have the chest rotate counter. Because one thing about the spine is that the pelvis and the chest sort of move in opposition to one another. the neck, rotate that so the head is facing more forward. So we do want to try to have the head in a more stable position. Just try to keep the head stabilized. And then now we want to grab this spine, and since again this one is moving forward, so we have the hips rotate like that, because since this leg is moving up and over, so then weight is being put on this leg, and it's the opposite with the chest. So this leg is moving forward, so in the chest we move it like that because weight is being put on this leg. And once again, make sure to adjust the neck so that the head is facing us nice and even. Adjust the head a little bit. Wait, wrong bone. Adjust the head a little bit. Have it stable and upright. Then next, we want to relax the tail. Then bring it up a little bit. Since the pelvis is going this way, we want the tail to go this way. Okay, now select everything, right click, insert keyframe, location and rotation. Sure, click and drag and get this one highlighted, right click, copy, and then go to 25, right click, and paste. So then that way you have this same frame on 1 and 25. Go back to 12, and we'll have this going the other way. So it goes this way that time, so this time it should go this way. That, maybe just have the head and that swivel up like this. And take pelvis and rotate it so that the weight is being put on this back leg. And same with the chest, rotate it in opposition to the pelvis. Since weight is being put on this leg, then rotate the neck and head so the position is a little bit more stable. And then grab the pelvis. Since the leg is being a little bit funky, just grab the pelvis and just bring it down just a little bit. Maybe bring this leg back just a tad. Then, once again, we will bring the tail down and then curve it up. And we will swing the tail in the opposite direction. Now, select everything and insert keyframe, location, and rotation. Now we will preview. Alright, well, we got them moving. Well, next step is to get the paws to come up off the ground. So check which paws are in the back. Then bring them upward. Like that. These paws are in the back. So at 18, we bring them upward. Like that. These one, for the first step, you do 6, and then for the second step, you do 18. Alright, now let's go to 3, and switch to rotation. The paw that is lifting off the ground, have it point towards the ground, insert keyframe. Have this one point towards the ground, insert keyframe. Now it kind of lifts up off the ground like that, and then at 9, we have it angled towards the ground, like it's preparing to hit the ground. And that one too. And now it more smoothly goes through like that. And then at 15, we do the opposite legs, pointed towards the ground when lifting up. And then at 21, pointing away from the ground when touching down. Alright, now. But, as you might notice, that's still not enough. The character still looks kind of awkward walking, don't they? Well, that's where this final part of the pelvis movement comes in. At 3, we will push the pelvis down for the down position. And then at 9, we'll pull it up for the up position. 15, push it down for the down position. And 21, pull it up for the up position. And there, now it is. Now the animation looks less wonky. And now another thing we can do is just, like, cat's ears are, like, realistically speaking, cat's ears are pretty stiff. They don't really flop around, but one thing that can add a little bit of life to your animation is when they go down, have the ears sort of, like, flop upward a little bit, and then when they go up, have the ears flop downward a little bit. Go down, then flop upward or inward. And when the pelvis goes up, have them flop downward. Sort of give a little bit more emphasis to this character is moving and there actually is weight to their body, and their ears or whatever floppy bits that you have attached to your character's head is reacting to that. Now another little thing that we can do for the tail is, as it swings like that, we can have a little bit of follow-through animation. Like that. Then like that. I don't really like how that looks. Let me try swapping them around. Yeah, the tape is looking a little bit stiff. Keeping in mind how it looked before, maybe go to a bit of a bigger extreme. There we go. Now it kind of looks like it's kind of wiggling a bit. Then another thing we can do is kind of offset animation. Just scrubbing each bone and then dragging this back. There we go. Okay. Oh, that looks good. So let's save that out. Okay, and another thing I wanted to cover was like if you wanted to maybe make your texture map a little bit smaller to better replicate sort of the PS1 like texture style. One thing that I know that you can do is like make sure to keep your original file at the like full resolution, but like for making a smaller size, just go to image size, use maybe 256, and then save as, and then your crunchy text or whatever. Okay, that's one way you can do it. And then another way you can kind of get the more crunchy textures is this website called Dither Me This, which is really cool actually. You can use it to sort of like add dithering to your textures, which is one of the techniques that they use for like older style video games. So like one setting that I really like is the 6-bit RGB. Change this size to 256. Set it to dither. And look at that. I think that looks pretty cool. Of course, we can save that out. Forest, wind, D-text. Then just click on your model, go to shader editor. Just hit this little file thing, and then let's see where, there it is. Then to get the texture to look nice and crisp, you change linear to closest. And there you go, now you have a nice dithered texture. And same thing if you have sort of like just a shrunken down texture. Like, make sure to set the texture interpolation, like that top option right here, make sure to set that to closest so that the texture can look nice and pixelated. Okay, now go ahead and get this back to my nice high def texture. Okay, so now we have our animation set up. Click on this thing right here. This is your camera. Hit insert. Then click on this little arrow that was right here. Go to view, camera to view. Then just kind of scroll out, put your camera in a place where you want it. Go to render properties. Go to film. Set filter size to 0 and enable transparency. Go to color management. Make sure to change it to standard because Filmic tends to mute the colors. Make sure to change it to standard. Then in output properties, set whatever resolution you want. Personally, I prefer a nice big chunky resolution. I prefer the nice square 2048 by 2048. It's a nice big chunky resolution. Everything looks all nice and high quality. Change color depth to 16. Make sure you select the folder for your character or whatever folder you want to output the animation into. Okay, save that again. And then for the one effect that you can add to sort of emulate sort of the PS1's imprecise sort of like when the PS1, it's like had sort of like jiggly models. It was because of like imprecise floating points. Like it couldn't precisely calculate where each vertex of a model was supposed to be, so they just so the vertices just kind of jumped from point to point, which caused that effect. But you know, since if you want to try to emulate that effect here, what you do is you go to your modifier properties, add modifier, and displace. And yes, this looks quite hilarious when you first add it in. So you hit new, and it looks even funnier. And okay, down, go to texture, hit this little, back to power properties, you hit new, you hit this little button right here that kind of looks like two little pills. You change it to clouds. Then you go back to modifier properties. You change the strength to 0.2. I find is a pretty good. I find is usually pretty good. Let me just change this back to timeline so we can look at that. Like change that to 0.2. Coordinates. Go to global direction RGB to XYZ and sort of test it to see. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Nice and jiggly. Then we go to now to add a little bit more of that delicious PS1 crunchy looking effect. We go to compositing, check use nodes, go to add, distort, scale, and shift D to make 2 of them. For the first one, we put 0.25 and 0.25. For the second one, we put 4.096 and 4.096. So I've found in personal experience that if you just do 4, there's a little bit of an extra edge on the render that comes out, and it's really annoying. So go back to add, and then filter, and grab pixelate, put that in between the 2 scales. Then we can go back to layout, once again save, and hit render image to preview. And, well, here's a little preview of our little character. So, once you're happy with it, you just hit render animation, and you just let it render out, and you're good. Now, that'll do it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like. If you have any suggestions for how I can potentially improve my tutorials, feel free to let me know. If you have any ideas for future tutorials, again, feel free to leave a comment. I'm happy to hear any ideas, and if I like any future tutorial ideas, I will potentially use them. And that seems to be everything. So, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.